Well, now taxi bosses affiliated to the South African Taxi Council in KwaDukuza say they will also be working with the traffic officials to clamp down on non-complying drivers. KZN Transport spokesperson Ndabezinhle Sibiya joins us now for more on this. Mr. Sibiya, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us as we get closer and closer to Easter weekend. It's such critical work that is being done by your department, particularly for KZN, as we see a lot of the traffic moving from the central parts of the country towards KZN. So talk to me about the steps that have been taken by the department to solidify road safety in the run-up to that weekend.
No, thank you very much, Naledi. Good evening to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. The MEC sponsor Duma has expressed his deepest appreciation to the leadership of the South African National Taxi Council, the manner in which they are approaching, the Easter holiday. And we are obviously working together with many other associations. The launch of the Easter Road Safety Campaign will take place in Ilembe District Municipality in Mandeni in particular. And obviously the MEC will unveil the plan for the entire, Passover weekend. It is important to indicate that we are building on the solid foundation laid over the festive season. The MEC met with management last week on Friday. This follows another important meeting with the leaders of political parties in the legislature on the 28th of March, where he presented an annual performance plan for the department and also, requesting the honorable members to pass, the budget, for this, financial year. Well, part of what he presented is the focus on decreasing the road fatalities. That is why when he was interacting with a highly efficient and dedicated team from Road Traffic Inspectorate, it was agreed that there should be an increase of boots on the ground. That is what the MEC is going to be announcing when he unveils the plan for the Easter weekend, on the 11th of April in Mandeni local municipality.
Yeah, but this is where it gets interesting, because in the run-up to another high traffic period, which was the festive season for 2024, some tensions between KZN officials, certainly with the taxi industry over the compliance of taxis, road compliance, and then of course those taxis being forbidden from being able to do their work. So explain to me how the collaboration then with SANTACO works, but how it is that officials are able to ensure that the taxi industry does still comply to our laws.
You'll recall, Sisnalit, that we engaged on this matter, and we started engaging during the Transport Month in October. As part of his program of action, the MEC prioritized the strengthening of the public transport system. There has been continuous engagement with the taxi associations across the province, with the regulatory, entity which is attached to the Department of Transport, working flat out, meeting with taxi associations, the MEC receiving reports, and also interacting with, the taxi, associations and the chairman of the taxi associations. You'll recall that towards the end of the festive season, he had several meetings with the Durban Long Distance Association, the leadership of that association, all speaking with one voice, saying, look, when we talk about KwaZulu-Natal, we're coming from the sad past where there was, taxi violence in various parts of the province of KwaZulu-Natal. But through the collective wisdom, we've been able to tide over the storm. We talk here about, all of us pulling in the same direction, ensuring that it is prosperity. And we can indicate that the whole issue around, the permits, it is an ongoing work. There's a dedicated team that, was assigned by the MEC sponsor Duma, working flat out to ensure that as we move forward, if there are any challenges, those challenges are resolved. And the fact that it was agreed in that, meeting, the last meeting, that, the window period for the application should remain open. But it is important to highlight the fact that as we speak, there is that cordial working relationship with the SA National Taxi Council. We do indicate now and again that, look, there will be challenges moving forward, but the collective wisdom is the one that always prevails.
Yeah, because the bone of contention in the run-up to the festive season was Operation Shanela. So I suppose the question is, that operation, is it continuing into the Easter period?
Well, Operation Shanela, it is important, Sister Naledi, to actually reflect on the past. Operation Shanela was initiated by the SA National Taxi Council years ago, just after 1994. KwaZulu-Natal has pioneered quite a number of strategic interventions in terms of strengthening the public transport system. That is why when the MEC was engaging with the leadership of the taxi associations, it was agreed that Operation Shanela must continue to operate. And where there are, areas of concern, he has always indicated that he grew up in the townships, he grew up in the rural areas. So the taxi owners, the taxi drivers are his brothers, his uncles, his fathers. So we have that open door policy, and we can indicate to the people of KwaZulu-Natal and the people of South Africa that we are looking forward to a festive season that is going to be characterized by working together. The religious leaders, are conducting the department. We've got the chaplain, the provincial chaplain, who was, installed by the MEC sometime early March, and he's been receiving, quite a number of calls from the religious leaders indicating, their state of readiness. On our part as the department, through our highly efficient road traffic inspectorate, we are going to be inspecting buses that will be buses and taxis that will be traveling to different destinations. There are areas that are regarded as hazardous areas. If you look at Van Riebeeck, if you look at, Imbazwane, some of those areas, there are satellite stations that are going to be, open 24 hours a day. And we have extra, road traffic inspectorate corps that are going to be, deployed. And in addition, there is overtime that has been approved by, the department following the interaction with the MEC, who said, look, the Department of Transport must be a catalyst for the growth of all sectors of the economy. If you look at the Easter holiday, we are going to be having quite a number of people coming from different parts of the province to KwaZulu-Natal as part of, tourism. They'll be going to different destinations, to sample the warmth and the friendly smiles of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. In that process, road traffic inspectorate will be quite visible.
Yeah, I mean, it's all of this really important, but then there's, of course, what one would call the long-term sort of investment that is necessary from government's point of view to ensure road safety. Number one being concerns that you may have around the quality of roads in KwaZulu-Natal in the run-up to the Easter weekend. We've just had weeks of quite a lot of rain, and that infrastructure incredibly important, to keep a close eye on the quality of it as we get closer to that. And then there's the issue of speed cameras and lights. Talk to me about any issues there that you flag.
Well, the MEC had a historic meeting with traditional leaders in eThekwini. On Friday, he met with traditional leaders. They discussed, the whole issue around the rollout of road infrastructure. We always state that KwaZulu-Natal, especially Durban, is one of the district. One of the areas that are hardest hit by the prolonged rainfall caused by the cut-off flow pressure system. Well, when the MEC met with the traditional leaders, they all agreed that, look, when we talk about the rollout of road infrastructure, there should be partnership. When we talk about road safety, there should be partnership. Remember, the MEC had another historic meeting with Indula Miti, Mrs. Zulgazulithin, sometime last year in Opongola, where His Majesty indicated to the MEC that, look, as we move forward, we need to ensure that, there is that close interactions with traditional leaders. So we can safely say that traditional leaders are part of the entire machinery. When we deal with the rehabilitation and the repair of road infrastructure destroyed by the prolonged rainfall, the traditional leaders are brought on board, and we are having continuous interactions with them. It is also important that when we talk about tourism destinations, people do not fly to those areas. They use, ground transport. That is why we are also working with other spheres of government. The Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, deployed resources to municipalities across the province as announced by the minister. Part of what was suggested is that municipalities must move with speed to repair the road infrastructure. There are roads that belong to the province and there are roads that belong to the municipalities. That is why the MEC has said municipalities must ensure that such budget that is deployed by the national government is utilized to repair road infrastructure, where we have a responsibility as the provincial government, as the Department of Transport will also move with speed to repair roads and bridges. If you look at Mzimkhulu River Bridge, we are awaiting an indication from the Minister of Transport, Barbara Creasy, following our submission for motorists to be exempted from paying toll fees. The reason why we closed that bridge is because it was built in 1958, very old, and it has posed some risk to the motorist. And we are repairing that bridge and many more others in the province, as we know that it was constructed using the old Kaizen construction system, where cylinders are sunk deep into the desired depth, and the concrete is filled into that cylinder. But the MEC will be presenting the budget speech on the 25th of April, where he will really spell out the amount of money that has been set aside to repair the bridges and all other road infrastructure destroyed by the recent floods.
Yeah, all important work indeed. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Sibiya. We really do appreciate it. KZN Transport spokesperson Ndabezinhle Sibiya speaking to us this evening.